Hi, everybody. This is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. And I am thrilled and honored and grateful and excited and delighted to have with me the founder of Etho Protocol. He has not done an interview for I don't know how long. So I'm just really, really appreciative of the fact that he's chosen to come onto my channel and to talk to me and allow me to grill him gently about Etho Protocol and find out all about it. This could be a great passive income opportunity. Earn Bitcoin and Ethereum this way. Set up a free account with the Solar Oil Project using my affiliate link in the description below. Purchase and stake SOAX tokens at 10 cents each. Earn rewards in SOPX tokens with each SOPX token pegged to the price of 1 barrel of oil. You can hold your SOPX tokens, you can sell your SOPX tokens, or through the magic of compounding, you can dramatically increase your income. Play around with the restaking calculator on the website. Use my affiliate link in the description below to find out more. Hey, James, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Glad to be here, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you for taking the time out to do this with me. And I just want to say, for anybody who's doesn't know about this, Etho Protocol is a founder member of the BPSAA, along with the other 3 founder members, Sentinel, Pirate Chain, and Turtle Network. And the BPSAA is the Blockchain Privacy Security Adoption Alliance, a group of projects like BitTube, Komodo, Dragon Chain, Ergo, Burstcoin. I don't know if there's any that I've forgotten. I apologize. I love you all. You're all my little babies, or I'm your friendly uncle who does videos on you all. And they all work together to promote privacy, security, and adoption. And Etho Protocol, as I understand it, is a platform, a blockchain, its own chain that allows people to host data and websites in a decentralized fashion, so it's censorship resistant. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, that's a good generalized description. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Well, James, just tell me a little bit about the history of Etho Protocol and what was the thinking behind it?
You know, Etho's been around for almost 3 years now, and it was born purely out of the idea to build a censorship-resistant, anti-censorship platform utilizing blockchain data structures, which themselves really facilitate the decentralized idea of everything, data to governance to everything. And back 3 years ago, when we were first coming up with the idea and doing testing, really nothing had existed that took the anti-censorship idea and brought it to a blockchain data structure. So that's kind of where it started from, is a group of people that wanted to promote anti-censorship utilizing a data structure that does just that.
Right. So you launched it in early 2018. And how much did you raise in your ICO? Was it several hundred million or $500 million?
I wish. No funding whatsoever. No ICO, no pre-mine. It was a completely fair public launch with just people that wanted to build out this censorship-resistant platform. And really, that's kind of facilitated getting us to where we are today. You know, we don't a big funded startup. We are just an organically grown group of people that believed in an idea and a culture, and here we are doing exactly that.
Right. Okay. And the team fund or something, or VC investors?
None whatsoever. It's all. You know, it's funny you say that because we get community members asking all the time. I'm not going to even say most. All of the funding we utilize, from marketing to exchange listings, is all from the team. It's from me. It's from the other developers. It's from Chris. It's from everybody that exists and is here to put forward this idea of anti-censorship. We all have contributed financially, time, ideas, and that's how it's kind of a grassroots organic group of people that have built this protocol.
Okay, all right. So obviously it's purpose built, right? Purpose driven. But why? I mean, in the atmosphere right now, the environment right now for censorship, it's much more severe than I've ever known. Certainly in the UK, and I think also in the US with big tech deplatforming dissenting voices and stuff like that. But in 2018, you were a bit ahead of the time.
Yeah, deplatforming has existed for decades. You just think of back to the first social media platforms, MySpace, the early days of Facebook, deplatforming has always occurred. And it always comes from the ability for a single entity to put their own ideas into what should be moderated and not moderated. And back then, the idea was that the idea of free-flowing information is the basis of true democracy. And that's how an efficient democracy is built and survives. And so in order to do that, you have to remove all the ability for any single entity, person or entity, to govern that data or whatever it is, to moderate whatever that is. So that the protocol is purpose-built to remove all of that, and simply everything exists from system to moderation to governance based on consensus, decentralized consensus.
Right. Okay. So you got this decentralized project run by these decentralized people who are purpose-driven, and the project has a very clear purpose of censorship resistance. So how did you start? Because Etho Protocol, as I understand, is a fork of the Ethereum blockchain. Why did you use Ethereum and not, say, I don't know, Komodo or some other protocol platform?
So a couple of things. So back in 2018, late 2017, when a lot of the testing was going on, we tested many blockchains, but back then, Ethereum had progressed so far in usability with the ability to deploy tokens, decentralized applications, all on chain. It was the most advanced of the group. Now let's talk about what a fork actually means. So Etho uses pieces. It's an EVM compatible blockchain, Ethereum virtual machine. It uses a version of the Ethereum codebase as a starting point. So we weren't a hard fork of Ethereum, like in the classic sense that you think of some of these larger hard forks like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic. We started from Genesis Block as our own separate entity, our own separate EVM blockchain from zero, utilizing some of the Ethereum code as a starting point to what we were building out, if that kind of makes sense to you.
Yes, I got it. So you went right back to the beginning of the code base and then started from there. And I understand it's completely compatible with the Ethereum blockchain. So then obviously the gas fees on Etho Protocol must be in the hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
No, and that's a lot of the reason we're seeing some of the growth and maturity over the past few months is because of all the gas fee problems Ethereum is experiencing. Etho doesn't have that problem currently because it's not over bloated like Ethereum is with all the applications and transactions going on. But as maturity grows, we may start to see some of those similar issues, but we are taking a different approach from them, and eventually going to utilize some different consensus mechanisms to alleviate that. But back to the Ethereum gas fee issue, it's painful for most to use Ethereum right now, myself and all of us, right? So What we're starting to see is this desire from existing platforms deployed on EVM chains, Ethereum especially because of the gas fees, approach us with the desire to deploy onto our platform because, one, we are able to facilitate everything Ethereum can facilitate, same like Solidity language, contracts, NFT, all of the above can be deployed on Etho with the added benefit of on the same chain having decentralized data being able to be stored along with all those EVM compatible applications. So we offer this completely separate tier of desirability that existing platforms are starting to realize right now.
Right. Okay. All right. And then you're saying you've had a lot of interest from other platforms, other projects. Are they coming over? Is it easy for them to port over? Can you mention any?
Well, we can't specifically mention any names until we've got official agreements in place. But what I can say is this: is from NFTs to DeFi applications across the spectrum. Pre-ICO, ICO, and mature projects are now looking at Etho because of the gas fee problem and the ability to host decentralized data. But let's just talk about the majority of what we're seeing right now are NFT platforms, and because of the NFT boom and how the whole atmosphere right now. But what specifically Etho has to offer along the lines of what NFTs need and utilize is unique. Every NFT platform in existence utilizes some sort of data service to tie their NFT contract to artwork. Normally it's some version of artwork they're tying ownership to. And the current methodology for all these large platforms is that they deploy mint an NFT contract on Ethereum or BSC or one of the other EVM chains, and they tie it to an IPFS hash, which is the actual artwork data, the picture, or whatever the ownership is facilitated. But in order to do that, IPFS needs to have that specific data that the hash ties to pinned somewhere. And the current methodology that these marketplaces are using are centralized services, because that's all that really exists right now. Specifically, services like Pinata have this, they're a centralized service. They allow you to upload your data to the IPFS network. They pin the data to their centralized server, and that's where it exists. It exists on a Pinata server or another centralized service server. Now, why is that a problem? If Pinata or any other centralized service didn't like what you uploaded, or let's say they were DMCA'd or given notice by whatever legal structure or government they're being governed by, whatever country they're in, didn't like what you uploaded or your artwork, they have full control over it. They could blacklist it and pull it down, and all you are left with is an NFT that you bought, minted, or paid for, that is just now, it's a contract on one of the EVM chains that is now tied to nothing. There's no data anymore that exists pinned anywhere, because that centralized pinning service took it down. Right. So to 95% of the user base, it becomes worthless, right? Yeah. It's just a bunch of code that doesn't mean anything to anybody. Now, what Etho offers is something specific to that use case, that we decentralize that. We can upload your NFT data just like you would to Pinata, but it's now decentrally pinned to the entire Etho protocol node network, but still accessible by an IPFS hash. Now it can't be taken down. There's no government that can come in and take it down, because there's nobody that controls it except for the decentralized consensus mechanism that the network operates under. So it facilitates the whole NFT process by removing that centralized point of failure.
Right. That's incredible, because NFTs are massive and growing. So, but they've got this single point of failure of counterparty risk, that this decentralized application is dependent upon a centralized service provider, in a way that Bitcoins are, trading them is dependent upon centralized exchanges, but less and less nowadays, right? So that could be just incredible for NFTs, for the whole industry. I like that very much. But how do you deal with, if you can't remove content, how do you deal with content that shouldn't be up, like child pornography?
And that's a great topic. So let's just purely talk about what Etho Protocol is capable of. Right now, it's purely an anti-censorship platform, right? Censorship-resistant platform. You upload data, it's there decentrally, it's replicated and exists on the network. But as the network matures, there is a need. There is a desire to have some sort of mechanism to, via consensus, moderate content that almost unanimously shouldn't exist. Child pornography is a great example. You talk to anybody, nobody wants it to. It shouldn't exist. But again, we got to stick with our culture of decentralized methodology and operating ideology. And so our very own, Chris, who works with you a lot, our business development leader, put forth this idea of moderation by consensus. And we have some very, very good conversations in our community about this, because there are two very drastic schools of thought, and this exists in blockchain in general and other pieces of blockchain, where there's the ideology of pure anti-censorship, right? Everything exists, just like blockchain, everything exists on chain and nothing should be forked off. And then there's the other school of thought where there should be some sort of realistic moderation via consensus, right? If the larger community or network via consensus agrees on something, it should be alleviated or fixed by consensus up and down the spectrum, including data moderation. So the current line of thinking right now with the way the project's maturing is that over the next couple of months, we're putting forth some ideas on how to moderate content like that is pretty much unanimously agreed to that shouldn't exist, should be dealt with. And from a technological standpoint, how that would work within our node network and our platform is that because it's decentralized and how data is uploaded and exists, there's no way for us to guarantee it nothing or any piece of data can be completely we can't make it disappear. But what we can do, if something is agreed to by our node network or node operation community that should not exist, is we can facilitate a network upgrade to where all of our collateralized, incentivized nodes will not facilitate the propagation, replication, and serving of that data from within our node network. In a nutshell, what we'll be doing is via consensus, be doing our part to prevent the replication and propagation of data that we don't, via consensus, our network of operators doesn't believe should be propagated.
Right. Okay. All right. So then the node operators are just not incentivized to support that, and it's still there, but nobody can kind of get to it or something, right? Now, the node operators. This is a proof of work coin, Etho, and it's a coin not token because it has its own blockchain. And some of the block rewards, I understand, are shared out with the node operators. And there's three types: there's a service node, a master node, and a gateway node. And I am actually a gateway node. Thank you to Chris. He and we recorded a video about 11, 12 days ago where he helped me set up a node, and you need 30,000 Etho to buy that. And I thought, well, I should better get it now rather than a year's time or 2 years' time, because he did tell me to set one up a year ago when it would have cost me a whole lot less, and I didn't do it. And I'm getting about 10 Etho every single day from that, and I'm just hodling my Etho because I'm interested in how much it's going to be worth in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. So, but the service nodes and the master nodes, just how do they work? What service do they provide?
Yeah, so like you said, we have 3 tiers of nodes, and they all provide different sets of resources to the network. So let's start at the top. The node you run, which we call a gateway node, provides network storage, bandwidth, and a gateway to the data. So you can actually access data through your node and view it. A master node, which is our middle tier, it's the collateral required to deploy is 15,000 Etho. It provides storage and bandwidth. And then the lower tier service node, which requires 5,000, provides additional network storage. So each one progressively adds or provides more resources to the network, to allow for functionality. But beyond the daily reward you get from mining block reward. So again, let's go back to consensus. It is a POW chain, proof of work. Miners mine the coin, and every time a block is found, the miner gets a share of the block reward. And on top of that, node operators get a share of the block reward. So that's where most of your daily reward currently comes from. But in addition to that, node operators get a part of the revenue share. They get all of it. They split the revenue share of the network upload system. So as network usability and increases and more data starts to be stored on the network, your daily reward will start to increase in relation to that as more storage and resources are used on the network for those uploads, for that data storage. And ultimately, the direction of the economic system will be towards that, where the majority of network usability and resource contribution by nodes will be incentivized by the revenue from network uploads ultimately.
Right. Okay. And then how does the economy of the coin work? Because I'm not selling my Etho.
Right. So the economy, the idea, and this is a great topic to get into, and I'll try to keep it as simple as I can. But blockchain in general, blockchain projects in general, they utilize what I call like a unidirectional economic model, where the majority of smaller blockchain projects tend to bleed out value over time. And what that means is, let's just take a simple proof of work coin. Miners mine the coin and they get a block reward every block that's found, and they tend to sell off a piece of their block reward to cover infrastructure costs, mining tech, mining hardware. Same with proof of stake coins. They'll stakers, node operators do the same thing. They'll sell off a portion of their reward to cover infrastructure costs. And over long term, what ends up happening, and you can see this through technical analysis and just looking at the majority of blockchain projects, is most value graphs of coin value are downsloping over a long enough period of time, because value bleeds out of the system because of that. There's more selling that commonly occurs to cover costs. Now, back in the early days of Etho testing, we wanted to solve that problem, because ultimately we wanted to build a network and a protocol that existed in perpetuity, that was self-healing, self-providing, self-rewarding, and didn't require any outside interference to keep it alive, right? it provided a service and perpetually existed because that economic system was a big circle. Like, so I call it a bidirectional economic model to bring value back into the system. So we do have the similar system where miners mine, node operators get a reward, and they tend to sell some of their reward to cover infrastructure costs. It's just, that's a reality of how things work. But on the other side of it, we needed to bring value back into the system, and that's where the revenue sharing piece really takes over. As network usability increases and matures, there's an enticement for funds, for value to come back into the economic system and become self-sustaining. So ultimately, over the long term, as network growth continues and matures, you'll start to see the majority of your node operator reward be replaced by the revenue sharing piece. So the value starts to not leave the system as much. It comes back into the system and support itself in this kind of perpetual circular motion that will allow this protocol we've built to exist in perpetuity.
Right. Okay. Now, part of the coin economy is somebody wants to set up a website, host it on Etho Protocol. They got to go to an exchange, buy some Etho tokens, and the one with the most liquidity currently, the largest, is Probit. But what if they're not familiar with cryptocurrencies? Then how are they going to work out how to get? That's a barrier to onboarding legacy customers.
Absolutely, and a couple of things. So interfaces and usability, that's it's big blockchain wide right now, but it's something we are starting to see growth and maturity with as these platforms start to come in. We want to, not as a development team, but as a network, have multiple entry points for all users, including uploads, decentralized DEXs, trading, but let's talk about uploads first. The development team, currently, we have multiple methods for you to upload simple data into the system. You pay for that data with Etho. You upload your data and can manage your uploads that way using Etho, crypto Etho. But like you're saying, that does provide a barrier of entry to some people because they have to obtain the Etho somehow to use it. And so what we encourage as a decentralized organization is that we've built the protocol, and now we facilitate people to build on top of the protocol, entry points, other platforms that use it. And specifically what we're starting to see, and there are a couple in the works, are fiat entry points for uploads. Soon you'll be able to use the upload system just like any centralized upload system, where there's an intermediary that takes care of the Etho piece, and you upload to the system. Your data still is a decentralized piece of data. It's uploaded to the system, but you were able to pay for that via an intermediary with fiat. It's just another piece of the decentralized puzzle, right? We want to offer everybody an opportunity to use the system.
Okay, all right, and it doesn't cost a lot to host data or a website on the Etho protocol. A matter of pennies, I understand.
Yeah, that's part of the usability piece, right? We don't necessarily want to compete with all these centralized, but in the end, it's got to be usable for everybody. So currently, you could upload an average, small website, 20 or 30 megabytes, and host it on Etho for months, for a few Etho, 1 to 2 Etho. Pennies currently, and that's part of the adoption usability piece. It's got to be usable and at least competitive with everything else that's out there. Otherwise, the benefits don't outweigh the costs and risks that people like to weigh. But again, usability is priority number one right now, and you can currently use it for very, very cheap.
Right. Okay. All right. And then I mentioned earlier, Probit was the largest exchange where Etho is available. But what about other exchanges? What do you have coming up? What are you doing with regards to that? Especially given that you guys are running on a shoestring, how are you going to afford the listing of some of the larger exchanges?
Well, let's. So a couple of things. So again, we never had an ICO. We never had large pre-mine or anything like that. But there is this idea that we operate on a shoestring budget. From a project standpoint, there isn't funding from the project, large funding. But from the team standpoint, there are many team members that contribute and are willing to contribute large amounts of funding,
right? Because
of their own, what they believe in and what their investments are and so forth. So usability, let's go back to usability again, because part of the usability piece does hinge on some of these centralized exchanges. We may not like it, but it's what we operate under. It's the whole crypto game right now. Is the entry point for most users to obtain any coin or token is one of these large centralized exchanges. So part of our reprioritization of usability and adoption over, for 2021, 2022 is getting on some of these large centralized exchanges. And I can't say names or timelines right now, but there are several that have been spoken to and a couple that are very, very close to being done. In order to facilitate some of that usability piece, to be able to onboard more people into the ecosystem. But it's just another piece of the puzzle that we have to integrate with to allow people to come into the Etho ecosystem.
Right. Okay. Very good. So we can expect something at some point.
Yeah.
We don't know when and we don't know what. But okay, cool. But nevertheless, this is a really, really great project, and I'm grateful to have been involved with this for the time that I have, and I'm going to continue being involved with this. And with regards to exchanges, there's an increasing number of decentralized exchanges that Etho Protocol is going to be available on because of one reason, the DEXs that are being built within the BPSAA ecosystem. Ergo DEX are building. There's the Atomic DEX is already out. Burst Coins, BT DEX, Turtle Network, Polarity Exchange, and then Etho will be integrated in those projects, into those DEXs at some point, if it hasn't been already. I also just want to mention, by the way, that Etho Protocol is available can be stored on the Apollo wallet. And Apollo is a partner of the BPSAA, an incredibly, incredibly secure hardware wallet. And I have a link. I'll link to their website in the description below. So go check that out. This is the one that I'm going to be. This is the one that I'm going to be using because it has a really secure element. So a little plug there for another BPSAA partner. Okay, now you keep talking about we, but I know you're an American, and you're not the queen, right, or a king, right? So who is we?
But let's talk about what Etho Protocol is and how it's kind of survived so long. Our biggest accomplishment isn't some piece of technology or ideology or anything like that. Our biggest accomplishment as a group is how we've built a decentralized organization over a long period of time in order to facilitate that perpetual ability to survive long term. We are not some big organization that pays high dollar developers to come in and build with us. We've built from the bottom organically and have a group of people that believe in what we do. They believe in the ideology of decentralization and anti-censorship. And how that growth has kind of evolved is we're now made up of a group of contributing teams that have different responsibilities without a single point, a centralized point that controls anything to further follow that line of decentralization. So the current main teams that contribute to Etho are Etho Black, which is the core development team. It's a group of developers that we kind of manage the main code base. Etho Pink, which is largely community management and some marketing, and then Etho Blue, which Chris is a part of, and business development and a large piece of the marketing puzzle. And those are ever expanding as more people interact and come in. We expand that approach. And again, it's not about hiring or being able to hire big name developers, or it's about organically building a grassroots team that believes in what we're doing. And the reason for that is we can survive in any market. I mean, we were born in a bear market. The whole project was born in a bear market when nothing was really worth anything. We are not dependent on Etho being a high value to facilitate technological advancements. So the nature of crypto being cyclical and bull and bear markets really has no bearing on how we are able to build out the future. We can survive through anything because of the organically grown nature of our decentralized teams.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the teams are, because there's three of them, right? Etho
Black, Blue, and Pink, yeah.
Okay.
And those are the three that exist right now, yeah.
And what are their roles? What do they do?
So Etho Black is largely, well, they have overlapping responsibilities. But Etho Black is largely built up of developers, the core developers who manage the core code base, project management pieces, and a lot of the other uh, we'll call main responsibilities of a blockchain project. Etho Blue is the business development end, where Chris is the leader of, which facilitates a lot of the platform integrations, the platform marketing, just the business end of it, and overlaps some general marketing ideas. And then Etho Pink is more of a broad community management marketing piece of it, which kind of facilitates, keeping and growing communities around the ecosystem.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, if somebody wants to set up a website or store data, you don't know who they are because it's all anonymous. They pay with Etho tokens. So how on earth are you going to market to people you don't know? And how are you going to know how successful you have been with the marketing?
I mean, and that's a piece we struggle with and will continue to struggle with. So you're right. There is, as anonymous as it can be, right? Any data you upload, website or NFT, anything you upload is simply tied to an address. So as anonymous as you keep that address, is as anonymous as that data is going to be, right? It's just like your coins on a blockchain. And so marketing right now, and this kind of it really highlights what our priorities are for 2021 and 2022. We spent the first 3 years of our existence building out the technology, testing, implementing, deploying, and we're there. We exist. It works. Lots of are deployed on the chain. And now it's the marketing piece of it. It's not necessarily marketing to a single entity to deploy a website. It's really marketing to platforms to build on top of us, that each one individually will facilitate a different type of entry point to the system for a different type of user. So ultimately, you'll have NFT platforms that utilize it. You'll have DeFi platforms that utilize the storage network, and you'll have a decentralized website, or even just generic data uploads that these other entities that will begin building onto us. So kind of how we've operated over the past 6 to 8 months is we built out many tools to facilitate building on top of the platform, make it very simple for people to build. And now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor start to flourish, because platforms and groups are starting to show interest in utilizing what we've built out.
Right. And these are cryptocurrency projects?
Yeah, and they exactly, and they range from all different phases, existing projects, pre-ICO, ICO, all the starting from NFT platforms to DeFi platforms, or even the average user that wants to deploy something and be the middle person and profit in the middle somewhere. It's kind of what we facilitate. It's the entire spectrum of deployability. We want to facilitate anybody that can build a platform and increase usability for the average user.
Right. Okay. And then just on that connected point is that it's the same language they use Ethereum. So whatever gets built on Ethereum could be built on Etho Protocol and could also be ported over quite easily as well.
Yeah. Being an EVM compatible chain, everything that Ethereum is deployed on Ethereum is portable almost identically to Etho. And that's really what we've seen an uptick in the past few months is because of the fact, the gas fee issue is so many platforms are just fed up with it. They're looking for other opportunities and other options. And being an EVM compatible chain with the added benefit of having the decentralized storage network built into the same network, it's a no-brainer. They can take the existing code base they use and deploy it on Etho, and they're up and running already.
It's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Now, there are other decentralized storage cryptocurrency projects as well. This one's so special?
There are several others, ranging from networks that purely just do data to some that are similar in the fact that they offer proof of work mining. But it's hard to find one of these projects that offers all of the usability from top to bottom, from smart contract deployment, decentralized application capabilities, with the same network as the decentralized data. So being an EVM compatible chain with decentralized data just doesn't exist anymore. We're the only one that exists. And then you throw on top of that the decentralized organically grown nature of who we are and what we've built. It's just kind of icing on the cake.
Right. Okay. All right. And then people are at liberty to go check out the other ones, and then absolutely go check out this one. And I'll have all the links in the description below, and you can do that. Then just a few more questions. So one is, could I? Could I store data, not just website, could store data as well in decentralized fashion? Is it possible that I could, somebody could encrypt their private keys or their 12-seed word phrase and then store it on the Etho protocol? Is it safe? Is it secure? Can anybody else look into it?
So and that is a good topic we could talk for hours on. But in general, what Etho offers is a platform that you can store anything you want on, any method you choose that you want to upload with. So if you wanted to store something that was meant to be hidden, you could, with the understanding that it is hosted on a network of public nodes, so it is in a sense viewable, but it is only viewable in the sense that you choose to. Whether you encrypt it before uploading or not is up to you. So if you were to use a level of encryption that is safe on whatever level you choose, that is the level of encryption it's going to have on the network, right? So it's what our whole methodology is, giving the option of what you want and the level of access you want into the owner's hands. We don't facilitate any of that. We provide a platform, and you elect how secure or what you are willing to allow people to see.
Right. Okay. All right. Is there, if people want to get involved, they can do that through Discord and Telegram group and go check out the website and stuff. Is there anything else you want to let us know that we haven't covered?
Simply on that topic is, we are an organically grown group of contributors and developers. If you want to share your ideas, critiques, even ask questions, join, contribute code, go to our website, join one of our social media channels. Telegram, Discord are the two best right now to communicate. You can talk directly to the developers or any of the team members, and we welcome everybody. You want to come in just to comment, that's fine. You want to come in and contribute, even better. But there's a lot of great conversation, great ideas that flow around through these channels. So I encourage everybody to at least take a look.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I can fully endorse that. I do invite people to take this out because what I appreciate and love about this is that it's purpose driven. It is purpose driven, and the purpose is to resist censorship, a censorship resistant platform. Because in order for people to make informed choices, to make determinations and which directions they're going to take in their life, you have to have the free flow of information. And it just isn't possible in an environment of increasing censorship, which is why what Etho Protocol is doing is so ridiculously important, in my opinion. I'm going to carry on covering them. So please do subscribe, comment, like. If you have any questions, let me know. If this is a project that you support, either because you think it's a good idea and you like what you've heard, then please put the ticker symbol ETHO. Put that as a comment. And if you hold Etho, please put ETHO as a comment. That just really, really supports me, and consider that as your donation to the work that I do in covering Etho Protocol and other BPSAA projects. And James, thank you so much for all the time that you've taken in doing this. I'm thrilled and delighted that you did this with me. And please do invite yourself back on. Don't wait for me to ask you. If there's any new news or something like that, you have full permission. I look forward to having you back on again. And for everybody who's watching, thank you so much. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto James signing out. All the best. Bye-bye. Now, if you're like me, I bet you're involved in cryptocurrencies because you want to secure your financial future. Take a look at Token Metrics. Their AI and their team of experts will help you find under-the-radar altcoins that you can invest in order to maximize your gains. Get a 10% discount using my code. You also can get a week's trial for a handful of dollars. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Link in the description below.